vacant, missing something, craving for something which he can't have. It's not a physical craving at all. It is not a physical craving, because he's fed well, he's given water or whatever drinks he likes in plenty, and yet he misses something. What is that something? Something which he has spiritually created for himself. If after death there is no such pleasure which man pursues here on earth and trains himself to be satisfied with that, then the lack of it is hell. You see, those who are drug addicts, sometimes if the withdrawal is too quick, too sharp, they will commit suicide. So that is the spiritual hell which is created here on earth by man. And the spiritual heaven is also created here, and we see the signs of hell and heaven here on earth. It's impossible for a man to continue to create hell for him here and expect a heaven in the hereafter, or the vice versa. When you do good, anyone, if he does good, it is not a question of a future promise of reward. He is rewarded there and then. The act of goodness is a reward in itself. It brings about definite changes in his personality. The goodness to which he ultimately gets addicted becomes reflected in his expression, in his face, in his style of talking, in everything he does. And every time he is used to do some goodness in certain area of goodness, after a while he will have to do some more. Because this again is the human nature, that you can be satisfied with something for a while, but after a while the same thing becomes boring for you. If you do not add to it, then the pleasure is lost. If you do not subtract from it, then the shock of sorrow is absent. So what is life? It is sorrow and happiness, changing sides, up and downs of these passions in man. So exactly like this, goodness goes on building itself in man. And when it becomes eternal in him, when it becomes an integral part of him, then the reward has to be eternal. Because death is not his own design. He does not cease to do goodness because he is tired of it. He is rather addicted of goodness. So according to the Holy Quran, that is the true definition of goodness, which comes and stays with you, never leaves you afterwards. So such a heaven as you create here on earth becomes your future reward. If you are addicted to the hell exactly in the same sense, then it should also be eternal. But the Holy Quran says, with the grace of Allah, because His mercy overwhelms everything else, even His mercy is transcendent over His own other attributes. So out of sheer grace and mercy, He'll bring the hell to an end at last. But that was not because it should happen like this automatically. It shouldn't happen, but with the grace of Allah in the hereafter, after a while when the man has punished in the sense that he learns to live without evil cravings, I should say, then gradually a time would come when he would be removed from that hell of his own creation and will be gradually moved towards heaven. Now the time scale which we study in the Holy Quran or other scriptures seems to be very large. But to my understanding, the time scale of the hell should not be judged in the same terms with the same yardsticks. Because when we suffer, our time expands. And sometimes a moment appears like eternity. When you are happy, the time flies by. Even the years spent in happiness fly like duties, and just in the twinkle of the eye, we seem to have finished our period of happiness. So when the hell is described as long, it may not be in real terms of the number of years, etc., or number of units of time. When the heaven is described as interminable, there is no other way it should have been described. Because even if it terminated after 1 billion years, the pleasure and the happiness and the satisfaction of the heaven would seem to have passed by in a matter of a few moments. So this is what I have learned from the Quran. I don't have time to give references in detail, but when I said something, I always had a verse, particular verse in my mind. So hell will not be eternal. Heaven will have to be eternal, because the reward for his goodness it could not come to an end, because his goodness could not come to an end. So in all fair play and justice, the reward of such a goodness which had to continue if death had not put an end to it, has to be eternal. Thank you.
The third questioner is always Mr. Fazal from Lichfield.
Right one?
Mr. Fadl
yes,
from
please.
Lichfield.
Your Holiness, my question is far away from the theme of the first question. It's down to earth. Would Your Holiness comment on the peace agreement between Arab state and the State of Israel? And what does Your Holiness feel about suicide bombers? Thank you.
Suicide bombing or suicide, anything is suicidal, which is not permitted in any religion. So it is suicidal in the sense that you sacrifice your own interests at the altar of your madness. Suicidal bombing began in the recent history with the Pearl Harbor, when the Japanese made squads of their pilots who would hit the American naval planes and naval bases, while if they had just tried to bomb, it was so well defended and well impregnated that it was not possible for the Japanese pilots to do that. The only course open to them was to strike with the plane itself and be exploded along with the explosion. Now this is the unfortunate element which has been introduced in the modern warfare expression of hatreds. Later on, in cases of feuds which are of like Palestine feud with Israel and some other feuds, political nature, this was again introduced. But as I've said, it is suicidal for those who employ such things, because then the punishment which comes is nondescript. And then you can't blame the enemy who has been hit like this, against which he has no defense really. In practice, very little chance of defense is possessed by those who are hit through suicidal bombing, etc. The answer to that is what you observed in Sri Lanka, for instance. Large number of people in retaliation were killed because they could not have access to the suicider who is already gone. But the forces behind were revenged against. So what is happening in Palestine? A large number of innocent people are suffering. But the logic is exactly what I have just explained. The Israelite government says we can't do without it, because the suicidal bombs cannot be stopped, and it cannot be accepted that there is no base for them, there is no soil on which such people are nurtured.